Thank you very much for that introduction, everyone. Really appreciated that. We will get the meeting started with an opening prayer today. We come to you with our thankful hearts for bringing us together today. As we prepare to meet together, I ask that you fill each of our hearts with your presence. Help us use the time we have together wisely. I ask that you would remind us to place one another's needs above your own. Please remove any selfish gain from among us and help us to seek the good of those around us. Amen. There's more to the prayer, sorry. May we be quick to hear and slow to speak. May we be slower to take offence and quick to show grace and forgiveness. May our speech be seasoned with salt and our hearts filled with grace. We pray, Amen. Amen. Please be seated. Just before we get underway today, given the significance of this council meeting, I just wanted to go through a few things. I just wanted to thank each and every one of you for coming here today. I really appreciate the support. I know that the council as a whole does. It is great to see everyone so active in democracy. Welcome back to the media, and hello and welcome if this is your first time. I just want to go through some safety measures here today because there are so many of us in this building. If it is to get unruly at the back, I will stand up and ask for silence. That will be the first warning. If it is to happen again, I will stand up and myself and the councillors will exit the room and we'll have a 10-minute intermission until everything cools back down again. Does that sound good with everyone? Yes. Fantastic. Love that. First up on the agenda, apologies. Looks like we're all here. Thank you very much. Any declarations of councillor conflicts of interest? Doesn't seem to be any. Item number 3, ministerial intervention. Would Councillor Hovell like to speak to this motion?
Your Worship, I would like to move that the Council work with Local Government New Zealand and Taitaura to develop an amended terms of reference for an independent review to restore confidence in the Council.
Thank you, Councillor. I would be more than happy to second that. Would anyone like to speak to that motion? Councillor Hovell.
As the mover, I would like to speak first. I stood for Council in order to serve, to benefit the community, to promote economic, social development for the benefit of not only the people who are here today, but for all those who live in Gore and the surrounding areas. I'd hoped to work together with others, with the people around the table, with the wider community, and with all elected representatives. However, that has been compromised by poor behaviours and a loss of trust around the table. People who know me know that I'm conservative. They know that I'm averse to confrontation. So for me to be part of a group of people who are speaking out on this raises, I hope, for the people who do know me, that there are some serious issues that need to be addressed. Some of the messaging I've received says the Mayor's been elected and let him get on with it. However, the consequences of not calling out bad behaviours is allowing them to flourish. We have tried to resolve matters internally on a number of occasions without success, so it is time to speak out. Others in the press have said, stop behaving like children. I would say the opposite. Our mental and physical health is at risk. What do you want us to do? Pretend all is well and carry on? That is no longer the New Zealand way. In recent months, I've tried to help steer through some difficulties, but they still remain. I don't want a community of whispering, with us acting as though there's nothing wrong when there is. I prefer to share openly with the community with the issues that are before us, because that is who we represent. And in the spirit of openness, I wish to talk to the meeting that was organised on Friday of last week, where most of the councillors met with the Department of Internal Affairs. The Mayor and Councillor Mackenzie were not invited to that meeting, and it was my responsibility to ensure that they were told about the meeting, why it was being held, and the reason why they hadn't been invited. I didn't do that. It was my responsibility, and I apologise to both of you. I understand that the department has since been in contact with the Mayor. Many people have contacted me and other councillors over the last few weeks. There's been new mayors, old mayors, retired mayors, councillors from other councils, lawyers. There's even been a priest who's contacted me, government agencies and Local Government New Zealand. We, the elected representatives, have considered the advice and the comments that we have received, and that has resulted in submitting a new resolution to today's meeting. The intent of the original resolution was to find a way forward in a formal way. Now, what is proposed and the advice that we have received from many sources is that there are better ways to do that, and that is the reason for tabling a new motion today. It is actually wider in scope than what was originally intended, not only to look at the relationship between the councillors, between each other sitting here at the table today, but also between the councillors and the Mayor, and between us as the elected representatives and the staff and the wider community. I see on the news today, and have been advised, that my name is part of a petition that has been entered into council, and several other councillors, their names appear on that petition as well. I've given no authority for my name to be used, and it concerns me that the petition is being used in this way. Finally, to the community, I say, if you want us to move forward, then help us. It's not helpful to read many of the things that are on social media. It doesn't help the mental and physical health of us as councillors, the staff in the building, and many people in the wider community. Please, can we work together? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I will reserve my right of reply if there is any further comment from councillors. Councillor Richard McPhail.
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Just probably a statement of support in regard to Councillor Hovell. I've sat here before in previous meetings, and we continually came back to the trust, confidence and integrity circumstances that we found ourselves in. I say we because I now say that the council, which includes the worship, His Worship, and the councillors sitting around the table, we need to act in the best interests of our community, not ourselves. We need to reflect in the past weeks the various resolutions that we've passed at meetings. We've gone in ever-decreasing circles in the hope of change, and now we're here today. We do not have the skills to correct some of our issues, and we do need assistance. We've seen and reflected on in the past weeks, and in more recent days, communication which has occurred, which I believe is in a common sense approach to the issue that we have before us, or the issues we're facing. And as is described in the recent Sunday program, the Gore way. It saddens me to see the media portrayal of Gore, but we have the opportunity and the will to reset ourselves as a council. When we look at some of those resolutions and what's happening within the community, we need to remind ourselves that one of our resolutions was to support the council staff and the CEO. Now, we are employers, and we need to remind ourselves of the legislation and the requirement around the fact that the council, include the councillors and His Worship, are employers. I believe the recent events that have occurred in the last couple of weeks have cause to give us a circuit breaker. And the way that we deal with the resolutions today is the first step to rebuilding that trust and confidence of the community in us, not the other way round. I'll close with challenging times and times of uncertainty. They test character, but we're still all here today. And this itself shows the commitment that we all have for our community. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Councillor Dixon.
Thank you, Worship. I have respect for the public here today, and they're standing up for democracy. And I have the greatest respect for the other councillors sitting around this table and the staff who are present here today. The last few months have been stressful and challenging. We stood for council not because we've got big egos and we wanted to get rich. We stood to represent our community, and a community that we care about. We make tough decisions based on being fully informed to the best of our ability for the community as elected members, and an example of the items is one of the items on the agenda today. I recognise that the current situation is unsustainable, and there needs to be movement between the parties to help this council work effectively, which ultimately is in the best interests of the community. I did sign the requisition to invite Ben to resign, as the impasse was too great and the stress for all parties was overwhelming, including the Mayor. It was more a cry for help than anything else, as council was hamstrung. Ben, we are your allies, we're not your enemies, and I believe we have dug some trenches, but we're stepping out to move forward with you. Our role now is to support you and the council to allow you to be the best possible mayor that you can, and for the council to be the best possible council that we can for this sublime district. So therefore I support this recommendation wholeheartedly. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor. Was there any further comment from any other councillor? Councillor Gardine?
Yes, I support this motion, and I didn't sign the requisition, but I felt coming to a council meeting and discussing it and having it out in the open is what we need to do. We need to reset and forgive each other, move forward and support the staff and the Mayor and the CEO going forward. And it has to be a team effort, and that is my point. I think we have had a good discussion together, and I think we are on that track. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further comment from any other councillor? Councillor Reid?
Thank you. I will support Councillor Hovell, Councillor McPhail and also Councillor Dixon's comments so far. Every one of us is here to do the best we can for our community, and going forward I will give my commitment to honour that commitment, my word to honour that commitment.
Thank you, Councillor. Any further comment from any other councillor? Councillor Paul McPhail.
I also support the comments that have just been made by all the other councillors, and I'll support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Phillips.
Thank you, Your Worship. I also support the motion that's been put forward by Councillor Hovell in regards to that. The people who know me, I've served in this community in various organisations for over 50 years, and I'm here to represent not only the Ministerial ward but also the district, and I shall hope to carry on doing so.
Thank you, Councillor. Do the three remaining councillors have anything to say? Councillor Stringer?
I'd also like to support that motion that's been put forward by Councillor Havel there and back it. Thank you.
Councillor McNeill.
Yeah, I support the motion as well. We need to put the past issues behind us and move forward for the good of the Gore district that we all serve as councillors. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. And Councillor McKenzie.
Through your worship, I want to say it has been a very stressful exercise for all of us. I mean, I support the Mayor. I mean, I do know we all support the Mayor in different ways. And I can see the potential here to build a bloody good team of people to do a bloody good job. Excuse my expressions, but that's the way I talk. I support the motion, and I think possibly we do need some assistance, but let's build a good team. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. I really appreciate all of the comments around the table. I took note of a few and wanted to express some of my feelings over the last couple of days. I think getting the request to resign was probably two of the darkest days of my life. It was incredibly hard, it was incredibly stressful, but following that, the immense pressure from the community and the voice helped lift me up, but consequently pushed all of our councillors down, and I believe that they had some of the hardest days of their lives, I would imagine. I think that brings us to some of the points that the councillors have made here today. A number of councillors said we need the skills to help us. I could not agree more. I'm not perfect, I hate to say it, but all of us councillors aren't perfect either. We've all made mistakes, and we're at the point now where we need some desperate help from the professionals, the people who do this day in and day out, to help us out to manoeuvre through this. Councillor McPhail said that we need to return to the Gore way, and I completely and wholeheartedly agree. We're not the town that is meant to be in the headlights all the time. We'll leave that to Auckland and Wellington, but down here we want to get on with the Gore way, and that's ultimately the Southland Way, which is just getting on with the job. Councillor Dixon talked about democracy. I want to thank everyone here and the people all across the country who have got involved over the last couple of days to stand up for democracy. I wholeheartedly appreciate it, and I'm sure our electoral system appreciates it too. I feel that councillors have been making decisions to the best of their abilities, as was mentioned before, but ultimately we need help to say what those decisions should be. I wholeheartedly agree with Councillor McKenzie that we have real potential here to come together, to reunite, and to find a way forward, and what a redemption story it will be. So I second the motion. If there's no further comment, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. Aye. And against, the motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. Make sure I haven't skipped one here. No, I haven't. Item number 4, vote of no confidence. The recommendation that sits here is that the council pass a vote of no confidence in the Mayor, Benjamin Bell. Did we have a mover? No, we didn't. Then we shall move on if there is no further discussion. Thank you very much. Legal opinion to remove the Mayor from the Chief Executive Appraisal Committee. Did we have anyone who would like to speak to the report? No, I will take the report as read. With this being such a public story, I've received all sorts of legal advice from throughout the country. But as this recommendation says, it's that the report and legal opinion from Anderson Lloyd be received and noted. I don't feel like it's appropriate to argue in here whether that opinion is correct. So I think that we should receive and note it if there is no further discussion on this topic. Councillor Hovell.
Point of order, Your Worship. We need a mover first and a seconder in order to discuss it.
Granted, do we have a mover? Councillor McDonnell, a seconder. Councillor Stringer. Discussion. Would you like to kick us off, Councillor Hovell? Do we have any other discussion on the Councillor Richard McPhail?
Yes, thank you, Your Worship. Obviously, the question in regard to noting receiving the legal documentation, the indication was when we discussed this at our previous meeting was in regard to whether, the question was asked whether you were going to remain on the appraisal committee. So probably I have to, in light of that, ask whether you intend to stay on the appraisal committee for the CEO.
Thank you, Councillor. Given the legal advice as it stands and considering there seems to be no discussion about debating it, I, by the legal opinion, am removed from there. I would like to explain to the councillors and also to the public that my reason for wanting that legal opinion is in relation actually to the next one. I don't believe it is fair or right that a mayor should be removed from all of his committees. As for the Chief Executive Appraisal Committee, we talked a lot about unity here today. I don't want to be a thorn in the side of that appraisal committee, so I'm more than happy to acknowledge this legal advice and step away from that committee. Did we have any further discussion, Councillor Richard McPhail?
Just in reply to that, Your Worship, I believe that probably it would be pertinent for me to withdraw from the CEO's appraisal committee as well, due to the fact that I've been an intermediary between both of you. I know it doesn't have to be voted on, but I think it should be passed and noted in the minutes that I'll be standing down from that.
Thank you for that, Councillor, and I think that's in line with the first resolution that we passed around getting some advice from LGNZ and Taitoa about where to from here. Do we have any further discussion on this item? No, I will put the motion. All those in favour, please say aye. And against, the motion is carried. Thank you, councillors. The last item on this agenda is that the council remove the mayor from the following committees, subcommittees and joint committees: Assets and Infrastructure Committee, Audit and Risk Committee, Community Wellbeing Committee, Policy and Regulatory Committee, Rural Halls and Domain Subcommittee, District Plan Subcommittee, Great South Joint Shareholder Committee, Southland Waste Advisory Group WasteNet, Southland Civil Defence Emergency Management Group. Do I have a mover for that motion? No. The motion lapses, and that brings us to the end of the meeting. Thank you very much for all of your attendance. We will be taking a slight intermission in between meetings. If you want to stick around and hear about our bridge project or innovative streets or all sorts of other things that we'll be discussing, feel free to rejoin us at 4 p.m. But this meeting is officially closed. Thank you very much.